Okay, I think we'll make a start if that's okay. Welcome to the last Learning for Sustainability Connect session for this academic year, and we're absolutely delighted to have you joining us today. Today we're going to be looking at a really pertinent and important topic of how do we create a culture of learning for sustainability in our settings. So for those of you who've just joined us, please pop your name and your location in the chat. Tell us a bit more about yourselves. We will be recording this session, so please do switch your camera off if you'd rather not appear on the recording. If you're not speaking, we do ask that you mute your audio, and please pop any questions that you might have in the chat box or on our Padlet, which my colleague will be sharing the link to in a moment. But please introduce yourselves as we get going with this session. So my name is Kirsten Leask. I am Project Manager with Learning for Sustainability Scotland, and I'm joined today by my colleague Betsy King, also from Learning for Sustainability Scotland, and we'll be hearing also from Susie Aldis from General Teaching Council for Scotland, who unfortunately can't be with us in person today, but we do have a recorded input from her. And we're particularly delighted to welcome our guest speaker, Lorraine Budge from City of Edinburgh Council, who's going to be sharing more about how they are supporting settings in their local authority area to make learning for sustainability part of the everyday for everyone. So a little bit of context setting, and if you've just joined us, please do pop your name in the chat, say hello to us all. But today's session, we're going to be having a quick reminder about the context in which we're operating, the national vision that Scotland has for learning for sustainability and its place in our policy landscape. And then we're going to hear from Lorraine, as I say, who's going to tell us more about City of Edinburgh Council and their journey. But then after that, it's over to you. As always, we love these sessions to be participative, to be interactive, and we want to hear from you about your ideas and thoughts on how we make learning for sustainability part of the culture in our settings, how you plan to do that perhaps, or how you're doing it already. We'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts on that. So here's a quick overview of the running order of today. I'll take another 5 minutes or so just to set the scene. Then, as I say, we'll hear from Susie Aldis at the General Teaching Council, and then over to Lorraine. Around about 20 to 5, quarter to 5, we'll begin our group conversation, taking questions from you for Lorraine if you have any, as well as starting to share our own thoughts on all of these questions that we've just looked at. And then we'll finish around about 5:15. Okay, so we'll start, as I say, with a little bit of scene setting. And what I'd like to do is really just to, I suppose, position the context as with a reminder, really, with just some of the issues that are of the utmost importance for the future of our young people in Scotland. Social issues, environmental issues, economic issues, but also the fact that sustainability, all those 3 pillars of sustainability, is an international priority as set out in the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. But here in Scotland, it is also a priority. The flower diagram you see there on the left, if you've not come across this before, is a pictorial representation of Scotland's National Performance Framework. And behind that sit the Sustainable Development Goals. So sustainability is hardwired into the policy landscape here in Scotland, and particularly when it comes to education. So we talk about learning for sustainability, not learning about sustainability. And what is it that we actually mean by that? So just a quick reminder that learning for sustainability is this cross-curricular approach. It's an ethos, which is all about building a socially just, sustainable and equitable society. And that brings together skills and values as well as knowledge. Here in Scotland, we've brought together the themes of global citizenship, sustainable development, and the pedagogy of outdoor learning to come up with this idea of learning for sustainability. And how do we weave that across our learning and our teaching, irrespective of the sectors in which we work or the subject disciplines that we might be experts in. And here in Scotland, it is an entitlement for all learners. It's also the responsibility of all educators. And aspects of it are woven across the professional standards for teachers as laid down by the General Teaching Council for Scotland. And you'll hear a little bit more about that in a moment from Susie. So how is it being delivered in Scotland? It's a wonderful aspiration, but how is it being delivered? And as a concept, it's been around since 2012, but in 2023, Scottish Government, in collaboration with many other partners and influenced and evidenced by the voices of young people, published Target 2030, a movement for people, planet and prosperity, which is the National Learning for Sustainability Action Plan to take us up to 2030. And within that, there are two key ambitions. The first is that it is to realise that learner entitlement to learning for sustainability, but also to help build this idea of a movement for change so that every 3 to 18 place of education becomes a sustainable learning setting by 2030. And it's a far-reaching and ambitious plan, but it has this ethos that we've outlined there at the bottom, that this is not just for a few, it's for everyone. It's for all learners, all educators, and everyone associated with the learning settings. Within the plan, there are 5 themes with 25 actions grouped under the headings that you see there. But in terms of today, the most important thing is this idea of the sustainable learning setting. What do we mean by that? So this is the framework that settings are being asked to work to. We call it the 4 C's, as you can see there: culture, curriculum, campus, community. And really the descriptors tell you a little bit more about what is meant by those things. So with curriculum, we're looking at the learning, the teaching, the way in which we assess, the pedagogies we use. When it comes to campus, we're looking at the physical and the digital environments that we use to learn in, but also the ways in which we manage those environments, things like procurement, resource usage. What are those spaces like and how do we resource them? The idea of community, we're obviously reaching out beyond the setting. We're bringing together partnerships in the immediate physical vicinity of the community, but also this idea of communities of practice, of culture, of identity, and realising our place as global citizens in a much bigger learning community as well. But we've put the 4th C, the one of culture, at the top there. Because this idea of a sustainable learning setting involves every aspect of the life in a school, not just the content and the curriculum and the other C's that you see there. And the culture of a setting is absolutely crucial if we're going to realise the other 3 C's. If we have to get the culture right, the ethos, the relationships, the way in which we weave learning for sustainability across other key strategies in the setting. What does the learner voice look like? How are we bringing in key statutory must-dos like the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child? And that's what we're going to hear more about today, is this idea of the culture. How do we make that happen? So I'm going to start by handing over to, as I say, Susie Aldous from GTC Scotland. Now, unfortunately, Susie can't be with us here today, but she has shared a short video with us. So I'm going to try and see if I can get the technology to work. So bear with me while I come out of this and share the video that she's given us for today.